So welcome back to another continuation of my tutorial videos for Clash of Clans for my clan. And today we're going to go over base layout in this video, and I'm going to show you what you're seeing now obviously is an enemy base that is in the wall, and I'm going to explain why his layout is a bad layout, and then I'm going to show you my main account space, and so you can have a look, and I'll explain why it's a slightly better option, and I might even throw in a couple of other bases for you to see, so you can see what's a good option. Um, to start with, his layout is really bad because he has just one solid line of walls around his base. Now, this means that as soon as wall breakers were to breach the wall, there is nothing stopping my forces, from just going berserk in his base. Uh, One of the few smart things that this guy has done is he's got his mortar and his wizard tower next to each other. Now, the reason that that is a good decision is that because the mortar is slow firing, and because it has a dead zone in which once enemy troops enter it, the mortar will not be able to attack them. The wizard tower covers this. The wizard tower it provides defense for the excuse me for the mortars. His clan castle is not the best placed either. It is right in the middle, but as you can see, its radius means that the second I was to drop an archer or a barbarian or something over here, I'm going to immediately lure out his troops. So, not the best placement. And the final thing that is wrong with his base, and something that you shouldn't do, is the fact that his walls are doubled. Now, the reason that you should never double your walls like so is, yes, it means that uh, barbarians and melee units have twice the wall to go through. You might think that that's a good idea, but the reality is that a wall breaker does a times 40 multiplier damage to walls, and it's an AoE, and it's a splash damage, and it's the same with balloons and many other units, and such as the golem dying. Also, when a golem dies, it does a small explosion. So having your walls double layered like that is not a good idea. If you want to double layer your walls, you ideally should have a space in between the walls. That like so. That way, if a wall breaker gets to the wall, it um, it doesn't blow up the secondary wall. Hog Riders can jump straight over two walls also, but most of the time it wouldn't matter because a wall breaker would destroy those walls. So this isn't a very good base to defend because as just I recently said, the second that outer layer of wall is breached, as soon as there's a hole in that wall, there is nothing from stopping my troops from getting in and slowing them down. Now, if we take a look at my main space, now it's not the best setup in the world, I'm not going to lie, but as you can see, there are lots of segments, lots of walls lots of walls blocking other walls and the like. So getting through one wall means that they have another wall to get through and another wall, and it slows people down. The only thing that's going to circumvent those walls is very, very high damage, such as a P.E.K.K.A. with rage spells, or a flying unit such as dragons. Obviously dragons and balloons are completely unhindered by walls. My wizard towers are protecting my mortars, and I've even got archer towers protecting them also. I've got my defenses are very tightly packed, so you know, dropping a mass of troops in this area over here is, unless you've got something that's going to punch through all of those or all of those walls and then defeat those defenses very, very quickly, you're going to have a you know, it's not going to do you any good. I've got my dark elixir crossbows are spread out very evenly around the base to provide a good amount of coverage for troops. They're on air and ground targets, so they're going to hit whatever they can. And my air defenses are also spread out. A mistake a lot of people make is that they put their air defenses right next to each other, and although that's great and all, when you have someone who's attacking you with a load of balloons or a load of dragons or even healers, you know, they might not trigger until much later on. So you want to have your air defenses toward the edges of your base, but at the same time you want to have them protected. As you can see, mine are protected from ground and air forces because they've got the wizard tower nearby, they've got the archer tower nearby, and they've got high level cannons nearby. And so that's that. We can have a look at some other bases just so you can get an idea of what's good and what's bad. Again, also here with Nate the Beast's base, very good setup. He's got lots of segments, so getting through his walls is no easy feat. You want to have your. He's also done the right thing here, and he's got his barbarian king on the outskirts. It can be both. It's a double-edged sword. It can be good and it can be bad. Bad because it can be very lured out to the edge of the map quite easily, away from the defenses, but also good because any initial attack is going to be met with brute force. Some people prefer to have their heroes, their ranger, their archer queen, and their barbarian and their warden close to the center as a last line of defense. That's also a very good thing. Very hard for the enemy to lure out and defeat, and there are a lot of attacking troops that will completely ignore heroes and other defenses. Some, like wizards and P.E.K.K.A.s, will change target. Others, like giants, won't. They'll focus on defenses and nothing else. And then having your heroes closer to the center of your base means that there's more chance of them being killed very quickly. The enemy being killed very quickly, not your heroes. So that pretty much covers it, guys. So the key things that you need to remember when you're setting up your base is don't double space, don't double your walls up unless you're going to put a space in between each one, and use segments and plan your defenses so that the defenses are covered. Non-essential buildings such as army camps, barracks, and even resource collectors can be left outside your walls safely as long as you are collecting from them very regularly. Some people like to protect their resources, especially when they're trying to save up for some of the high level upgrades, which is completely understandable. But provided you empty them on a regular basis, the enemy attackers can only steal 50% of what is currently in the collector. So if your gold mine has got 2,000 gold in it, they're only going to be able to steal 1,000. If it's got 100, they're only going to get 50, and so on. Final thing that's very good is to try and keep your clan castle central to your base. Because of the treasury, they can only steal 3% of anything that you have in there. But on top of it, the harder you make it to lure out the troops, the more the enemy is going to waste to get rid of them, and that can be very integral to a defense. So I hope that this video was informative, and I hope it's helpful, and I hope that it helps you create a viable base. And thank you once again for watching.